at sunrise, chanting, dancing to his name. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. He would wake up everyone, rise and rejoice to the name.
First diffusion. 1. Again and again, I offer my humble obeisances to those devotees who are ilki,
who are like Shakura birds.
Like Shakura birds, relishing the nectar of Srila Rupa Goswami's words.
Put your mouth closer to the thing.
Through even the slightest mercy, I am able to speak this book, Raga.
Give me your thing. I'll set it. Turn the lights off too, so you might hear it. Okay.
Krishna. Through even the slightest mercy, I am able to speak this book, Raga, Vartma, Candrika. Previously, I gave a concise description of the path of Raganuga Bhakti, or devotion following one's spiritual desires. In my book, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, when one's devotion is prompted by orders received from the revealed scriptures, then it is called Vaidhi Bhakti. But when one is prompted simply by spiritual greed, then it is called Raganuga Bhakti. The word Pravartaka in the previous verse means being fixed in devotional practices. The two kinds of Chandraditis for devotional service, Vaidhi and Raganuga, should have fear of scriptural injunctions and intense spiritual greed, respectively. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Oh, so do I just slide this to the left, to that way?
Slide what? I let me see. I don't know.
Okay, I just need to
give me that.
one more.
Yeah, go. Yeah.
That's what I need to do. What you just did, yeah. Srila Rupa Goswami has personally given the following definition of lopa, sacred greed. When the heart yearns for the sweetness of the moods of Krishna and his eternal associates in Braj, and when one is prompted by scriptural injunctions or logical arguments, then that is the definition of sacred greed. If one thinks...
Wait, no. You read this thing wrong. Read that again.
Srila Rupa Goswami has personally given the following definition of lopa, sacred greed. When the heart yearns for the sweetness of the modes of Krishna and his...
For the modes of Krishna?
Moods!
You gotta be careful. You use the wrong word. Okay. It just, the whole thing gets messed up.
Okay. Okay.
Go slow and just...
Okay. When the heart yearns for the sweetness of the moods of Krishna and his eternal associates in Braj, and one is not prompted by...
You didn't use the not before.
I didn't.
One is prompted by... So you see, it just changes the whole thing.
Okay.
Bloodhound.
Moods of Krishna.
Yeah, give me the camera.
Oh yeah.
And his eternal associates.
Hello there. Yeah.
And one is not prompted by scriptural injunctions or logical arguments, then that is the definition of sacred greed.
Yeah, and see, this is where people need practical experience. You read that, and it's like, okay, great. What does that mean? You know, it's like, that makes sense. It's like, yeah, okay, well, how do you, people don't know. You have to see how that works. Like, first of all, the devotee who is a Raganuga or a spontaneous devotee, they're naturally attracted to worshiping Krishna for ecstatic happiness. See, they got that greed. And if somebody wants to get that greed, they have to see that devotee worshiping like that. And then if it's attractive, some will get it and they'll just really, they'll really get into it like, wow, I really want to worship like that. See, and then, start surrendering to the path taught by the devotee, basically their association. So the sacred greed, it takes sacred greed to produce sacred greed. Or, in other words, Visvanath Cakravarti Thakura said, Bhakti begets Bhakti. So this kind of Bhakti, spontaneous devotion, is begotten by those who are spontaneously engaged and they just love, those moods of rush. They like worshiping Krishna like that. And it's kind of novel, like especially there could be a lot of Raganuga Bhakti candidates. But the problem is most don't see it and they don't know it exists. Because even in the book, they may read that book and it doesn't make any sense to them. Because they only have Vaidhi Bhakti experiences and Vaidhi Bhakti association. Those who are worshipping Krishna according to fear of not going to hell and following the rules and regulations that are usually taught by religion. See, so they don't have this greed, and therefore it's really hard for them to they've never seen it, they don't understand it, and it looks weird. It looks weird, like when a person in Vrindavan is worshiping Krishna, tears are squirting out of their eyes, and they're really ecstatic and blissful and jumping around and just like dancing madly and stuff like that. It looks really weird to people who are usually in normal business. So practically in Vaishnavism, we have the problem is, first of all, this path of Raganuga hasn't been really taught yet. They say they're teaching it, but they're not really teaching it because nobody's showing show that, hey man, this is what happens when you worship Krishna in ecstasy. It's so nice, it's so blissful, it's ecstatic, it's rapturous. Don't see it. They only they speculate. That's the best I've seen so far, is people that'll read these verses and then because they're not Raganuga Bhaktas themselves or spontaneous devotees, they speculate on what they think it would mean. So that's best I've seen so far. People at least have some interest in it, even though they're still speculating on it. So the best teacher is the experienced teacher. See, where, like when you read these verses and I read these verses, it's like, yeah, I can relate to that, man. Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, I'm worshiping Krishna, not because the rules are inspiring me. Krishna himself inspires me, man. His name makes me so I can't contain it. Gives me great happiness. Yeah, I can. And then I have students now say, yeah, that's how they're getting it. They just see this and they want it and they develop this greed. They say, yeah, I want to worship like this too. And even to the point they even get a little envious. Like, man, how come this person's surpassing what I'm doing here? So, yeah, see, that's why you have to be an actual spontaneous devotee to teach it, man, because it has to be manifested in your life.
In a quarter of a mile, continue on to Huntington Road, A14.
You got a message here for Balaram if you want to read it.
A message or on a comment?
Text.
Later.
let such greed arise in me also, after hearing about moods such as the transcendental conjugal mood towards Krishna of his associates, the gopis.
Continue on A14 for 58
then one
miles.
need not wait for suitable sanctions from the revealed scriptures.
See how easy it is? And so I've been teaching this. People, they're like the speculators on this, they're not spontaneous devotees. They say, no, you got to be qualified for Raganuga Bhakti. But right from the horse's mouth, Raganuga Bhakti personified, Visvanath Cakravarti Thakura, he says, all you have to do is let this greed arise in me. Huh. What a nice qualification. Didn't say, well, all material desires, all this stuff. What a bunch of crock we've been fed. I mean, can you imagine all these? Every friggin' guru has said that. Not that they're friggin'. I'll give all respect to them. All respect to you gurus. But you've been teaching the wrong thing. Well, maybe you're here to, God is inspiring you to teach Vaidhi Bhakti. I don't know. But there it is. I mean, that is so inspiring to me, man, that, wow, you are really a merciful God. I thought the way people have been teaching in Vaishnavism that you're a miserly God, and then all I see is the qualification is you need two things. You need a real spontaneous devotee, and you need eager people, eager to develop, eager to also worship the Lord like this. Pretty simple, huh? Am I crazy, or is that making sense? Are we building on his foundation? Building. Man, do I like easy paths, man. What's wrong with easy? Why not? Isn't it hard enough in Kali Yuga? You need more viruses to attack you. You need more terrorist fears. You need fear on this thing. You need more restrictions, and then you get into religion, and you got the hypocrites controlling you. How about some easy self-realization, man? Look, all you need is a spontaneous devotee. And then just watch them crying and laughing. To me, it's the easiest job in the world. I just sit there and I just chant the holy name in front of everybody and just enjoy worshiping Krishna with great happiness. And then people come, I want to also do like this. There you go. The qualifications and the situation is right there.
Yeah.
Okay? Now you see why Prabhupada said, okay, that's enough of you just enjoying. Get some other people involved in this. As my approval, you're doing exactly what I want you to do. More of that. Well, now that I see it's so simple, Prabhupada, thank you. Okay, I think I can handle that instruction. That's pretty easy, huh? To sit there and enjoy serving Krishna, man, great happiness of Vrindavan, and let people, I also want to do it, and just hang out with you, and then all of a sudden everybody gets it. Okay, go ahead. There's a few little details coming up here, but, we'll get to that.
Then one need not wait for a suitable sanction from the revealed scriptures or logical arguments.
Hold this for a second.
If such impetuses are there, then it cannot be justly called greed. This greed.
See, if you have to wait for it, I say, well, I'm not really qualified. I can't take to this path because I'm not qualified. Then that's not greed. See, so the thing is, and you know what? That is not that hard to get over. That's kind of just ignorance. If a person will just listen to the logic of this, is first all you need is you have to see a spontaneous devotee, and then you might be a little afraid because you think, I've been cheated so much. Even most of your Vaidhi Bhakti gurus are cheating you, more or less, also, and they can't help it because they're also being, misled, more or less. Until you self-realize it's always like that. You're more or less being cheated, So, so a lot of it is just ignorance. If people will realize that I don't have to have the qualifications that my inexperienced teachers have told me, even gurus, even ones that have all these stamps of approval and all that, they are also under that impression they got to be qualified to take to this. But all they need to do is, first of all, develop faith in a real spontaneous devotee, a spontaneous love of God. And then you might say, well, how do I know? There's so many cheaters out there, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, but anyway, those who are actually getting the benefit, see, so there are some that are stupid enough to actually listen to a crazy person worshiping the Lord in ecstasy, which sounds stupid to you out there, most of you, right? Most of you think it's really stupid for a guy like Johan or Govinda and what's her name over there? River Yamuna River Yamuna, to listen to a crazy guy. But then when you see they get results, see the results, and they see the that it's like, what a change from one year to another. It's amazing. And then even guys like Karuna might
never know. Never.
He might develop some faith, overcome that thing of his other, the guy that was the armchair Raganuga Bhakta.
He's all over the coronavirus. That's pathetic.
Yeah, he's got to keep some interest. Have something interesting.
So sad.
Yeah. So you see. So basically, you got to get over. You got to just see logically too. See, that's where he's going to get into this there. That because we want to help people. Most persons don't know this. But if you know, all you need is a spontaneous devotee. You just need this formula. A spontaneous devotee, okay? And then, okay, you can say a little cautious, okay, I'm not sure that this is really real. And see the result of those who are jumping in. They come into this incarnation, they ain't waiting. The Johans and the Lalita Gangas and the rivers, they ain't waiting. And Govindas, they just jump in and get wet. So you look at the witness program, and if it looks good, then you can put your toe in a little bit like that, right, Karuna?
That's right.
Right. Okay, I think we...
Why do I feel like the wrong lake of the group already?
Well, he's not here.
Needs some punch bag somewhere.
I'm sorry, Guru Maharaj, I've done something.
Oh, done something.
We're laughing, I'm
Fingers
sorry.
all over the place.
Fingers and thumbs.
There you go. You want that minute? I'll take this. Okay.
Oh, you get hot in here.
Okay.
It is interesting.
There you are now.
Wow, it's great.
Very
It's great.
Okay.
The slowest drive back home ever.
This greed arises in anyone on such basis, nor does the candidate even consider whether he is qualified for the path of Raganuga Bhakti or not. Rather simply, after hearing about the subject matter or seeing it, that greed will arise in him.
Yeah, okay. All right. Here we go. All right. Yeah, so the greed is like that enthusiasm. It's like you feel good, first of all. You feel good, yeah. And it depends on where you're at. It's just like you just feel like, yeah, I really want this. Man, this is really nice. And you get a little high off it too, being around devotees like that. And then it helps you get through the false ego stuff. The what do they call that? The crucifixion. Well, that's only if you have a lot of if you're carrying
Heavy cross.
heavy cross. But it's only temporary, and what was the point? I kind of got off of that.
Listening to spiritual master arrived at a greed.
Oh yeah, the greed. Yeah. Well, not only listening, but actually by seeing that this kind of way of worship, and by hearing. And the greed arises. See, your desire arises. You become eager. It's called eagerness, actually. You become really eager for this. That eagerness develops into affection and then further into devotion. See, that's when Krishna arises. You feel this literally like it's really ecstatic. It's like the fountain of youth, man. You know, it's just like a fountain. You know, this rises up in there and you just into this really ecstatic devotional experiences. That's when the prema begins to manifest with the tears and other ecstatic symptoms. Very wonderful. Okay.
There are two causes for the appearance of greed: the mercy of God or the mercy of another anuragi devotee. There are again two kinds of mercy bestowed by a devotee: praktan and adhihanika. Is that right?
Yeah, you know what? Give me that there. Give me the actual thing.
Halfway down.
Yeah.
Just after the 6.
Yeah, after the 6. Okay. All right. There are two causes. Yeah. There are two causes. You know, give me your thing. I think you keep messing it up. No, this thing. You need the volume up and this down. Hare Krishna. You don't need any sound. Okay. So there are two causes for this appearance of greed: the mercy of God or the mercy of another anuragi devotee. Now he throws in something else here. There are again two kinds of mercy. See, there are again two kinds of mercy bestowed by a devotee, praktana and adumika or something. Anyway, you know what? Let's not get into the terms too much. It's not necessary. So pratana means mercy bestowed by a Raganuga in a previous life. Adunika is mercy bestowed in the present birth. The pratana devotee takes shelter of the lotus feet of a Raganuga guru after greed has arisen in him. Okay, now we got to break this down. I'm going to go back. There are two causes for this appearance of greed. The mercy of God. Okay, when he says mercy of God, and then he says in the next sentence that mercy is bestowed from a previous life. See? And that's from another devotee. You get the mercy of a devotee in another life. The Lord works like that. Very rarely does he just give it directly. Okay? Even when the Lord Chaitanya was here, he came as a devotee and bestowed the mercy as a devotee, in the mood of a devotee. So, if you see a person now with this in this life that has the symptoms of this kind of ecstatic worship, but they didn't get it through a guru in this life, then it was from a previous life. You just carry it over. It's just natural. Why would God want you to work again when you already developed it?
No loss of definition.
Yeah, no loss of definition. You just start where you are. And also there's other things I've experienced and I've realized by doing this job as a spiritual master. It's like a position. I see what happens is I'm seeing people that didn't have this devotion, or maybe they had a little bit, and it really gets inflamed when you get it from the guru. See, it really arises, like a lot of the devotees here that getting it fast, they've had something happen, with Krishna in the past, and then they really kind of get on this, and they just start to bloom really fast. So and some people, they don't have much of it or anything, and they come and then they're starting their thing. So generally, what I'm seeing is most need the anuragi devotee. The devotee already has it in a more mature stage, because this is why it's such a deep thing and a high thing that just to develop it by your own is not going to happen. It's just it's just not going to happen. It's very rare. It will just, and it's not going to happen because most are just qualified as Vaidhi Bhaktas, even gurus. They're only Vaidhi Bhakta gurus. See, so two things has to really happen for this kind of spontaneous devotion to be preached in this world. Is the devotee has to be sent here. Okay? And once even one devotee, okay, not only that, the devotee has to be sent here, and they got to get the order from the Lord to preach this. Otherwise, they'll preach Vaidhi, like Prabhupada. He was qualified, Bhakti Siddhanta, Bhakti Vinod, and they preached Vaidhi because that was the foundation. Okay, yeah. So that has to be here. A spontaneous devotee has to be here, and then they got to get the order. Just like I was just naturally worshiping in this ecstasy, and I didn't think anything about it much, and then spontaneously a few people came, and then Prabhupada comes and says, yeah, okay, has my approval. See, so it's time. See, so the order came, just like Nityananda and Advaita also got the order of Lord Chaitanya. Okay, so we got it through the parampara, and they got it personally because God was there. And and that's why we're doing what we're doing. Okay? So now I'll read this verse, see if it makes more sense. So there are two causes for the appearance of greed. The mercy of God. Now that's where you get it usually from a previous life. He's just saying mercy of God. Or the mercy of another anarogi devotee. And that's where most are going to get it. See? This is practical. There are, again, two kinds of mercy bestowed by a devotee. Mercy. Two kinds of mercy bestowed by a devotee, pratana and adunika. Pratana means mercy bestowed by a Raganuga in a previous life. See, that's related to the mercy of God. He goes right into that. And the other is this is shaking around here. Previous life. And Adukana is the mercy bestowed in the present birth. See? So that's mercy. The Pratana devotee takes shelter of the lotus feet of a Raganuga guru after Adunaka. After that, this mercy, Adunaka, will get. I have to use all these big words. Will get that greed only after having surrendered to the feet of a guru. Okay, so the latter type will only get this greed after they surrender to the feet of a guru. Now this is one thing I got from this devotee. What was this? Acharya.
Oh yeah, you're speaking about this
Acharya guy. What's his name? Balabhabata. Balabhabata Acharya. Yeah, Balabhabata Acharya thing is the Pusti Marg. Or for if you want to follow this path, it really depends on this surrender to the guru. You got to really get that. This is where you're going to get it. You got to really get it. And I've noticed that just people that are really getting this, they're really in that mood of surrendering to the guru, and then it's like, it's how they get it. And if you don't, and so this Vallabhabhatacharya, he would not even initiate anybody unless they were like, he called it, there are two types of beings that were, some were qualified for this Pusti Marg, which is the path of devotion, which is it's utterly surrendering to the conceptions taught by the guru. Okay? And the other, so they call that the path of devotion. and then you go like really fast, you get the mercy, get into the kingdom of God really easily. But a lot of people are not really qualified for that path. Not everybody is. And he wouldn't even, if the person, he would test him. He would see if this person was qualified for this path or not. Some just not, they're not into it. You know, they want to do something else. You know, they just not.
Or they surrender in name only.
Yeah, or name. Oh, yeah. See, they surrender in name only for some motive. They want something. They want to be a position or to be the head. I mean, I've seen that when I was in Vrindavan, and especially Radhakund. I've seen people. They have this desire for legacy. They want to. They like forever remember. You know, just even. You know, they're building tombs for themselves, and they want to be remembered.
Like
I mean,
pharaohs.
you know, yeah. I mean. Yeah, the legacy is really built by taste. Is just automatically it just is remembered. But anyway, you know, this is not everybody is qualified for this real devotional path, even though they may be part of the group. You know, they might be part, like they take to it. And this is what Bhakti Siddhanta said that when Lord Chaitanya disappeared, these infiltrators came that started teaching other things. They started teaching by renunciation and by austerity you attain Krishna. See, instead of you attain it through the grace of Guru, and that's simple. You know, just by loving your Guru, becoming attached to the Guru, and listening to your Guru like this, hearing from them. And then there's some details. It's not only that. It's that is the foundation. But then he's going to get into that. We'll go deeper now. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. It's great.
All right. There's great stuff here.
Yeah, did it.
If you got any comments, you can
Yeah.
say something.
Where are we?
6.
Six.
After 6.
Can't do this.
I could.
So where I left off from?
After 6. A little bit, you know, like a paragraph after 6.
The Bhakti devotee takes shelter of the lotus feet of a Raganuga guru after the greed has arisen in him, and the adhikana will get the greed.
And the reason, sorry about that. It's so deep, this stuff. So, and the reason you got to take shelter is because in that association this will develop, not alone. This is where some devotees sometimes make a mistake. They want to go off on their own. But this actually it develops in the association of other devotees. That's sadhu sangha. See, so it's very important, especially when Krishna's giving us a sadhu sangha. I've had people leave, and I always wonder, I say, why are you leaving? It's the family, man, you know? Krishna's giving it. Oh no, I want to do my austerities, you know? And as soon as that ungratefulness, they go. And they're just, you know, there's this thing where people want to do it their own way, and they're not seeing how things are being given as a gift, and they're not grateful in their heart about it, because the Lord is bestowing all this as a gift, you know, and in association with real devotees. Go ahead.
And the adhikana will get the greed only after having surrendered to the feet of such a guru. It is said in the Bhakti Rasa Samhita Sindhu, the only causes of the appearance of greed is the mercy of Krishna on his devotee.
Wait. Oh, the mercy of Krishna. And what's the in-between word there that I missed? Say that. The mercy of Krishna, and what else?
Or his devotees.
Or, yeah. Don't forget the or.
Okay.
Or you go around in circles. Hey.
Therefore, some call the path of Raganuga Bhakti Brujiti Maga Pushti, the path of mercy. Now, when
So it's the path of mercy. Give me that thing. Not that.
phone.
Which
God,
one?
you guys.
Which one?
Give him everything. Give him everything.
Don't you know what I'm asking for? Hey, we got 5 people watching. That's great, man. You guys liking this?
Loving
And
it.
it's fun?
Loving it, loving it. I'm not even driving anymore.
Got to keep these minds quiet here, where all our minds will go all over the place if we don't have something to engage in. So what's the comment? What are we talking about? Say that last sentence again.
It was the or, wasn't it? Pushti Mar.
So this is the verse. The only causes of the appearance of greed is the mercy of Krishna or his devotee. Therefore, some call the path of Raganuga Bhakti the path of mercy.
Yeah, so, yeah, Pushti, the path of mercy. See, so it's one that needs to be accepted. That's it. That's what we're teaching here. Just accept this path, you know. Accept this association. And look how hard it is for most. Boy, do they have a hard time, most people. Association. What, you don't want this mercy? You get the highest thing that all these gurus say you have to work for lifetimes. All you have to do is accept the gift is here. We got the order. We got the ecstasy. We got everything. All ducks are in a row. Just grab it, man. It's here. You know, it's like that. Johan was reading that run of Shamananda. You know, his disciple Rasikanandana. Isn't that name Shamananda, Rasikananda? It says it all there. Yeah. So yeah, Rasikananda says, hey, how would you like to get love of Krishna without a lot of troubles? Oh, have you heard of Shamananda, my Gurudev? Just coming in, you can get love of God without a lot of trouble. See? And that's how it is. Just accept the mercy when the mercy's here. You know, they also got the order of the disciplic line. The Vaishnavas, they gave them the books. See, they gave them the books, Shamananda, Narottam, and Shamananda. They gave them the books, and they said, go out there and preach spontaneous Raganuga Bhakti. They did, and were successful. Whoever took their shelter became ecstatic devotees. You can read all Bhakti-Ratnakara talks all about that. So, what is it? Just disappear? It's never going to happen again? Well, it's happening again. You just got to accept, you know? And if you don't, then you're not qualified. Isn't it amazing how you're not qualified? You think you're qualified in another way, but that's the wrong way. Qualified by just, you know, go, wow, look at me. I got a Bhakti Shastra degree. I'm a smart devotee. Oh, am I intelligent? See, that's not qualified. That's not the way. No. Just realize the essentials is the ecstatic devotee has the order, and you all you have to do is associate, watch them, see, and then you won't be able to believe it off it because you know. My guru said only after many lifetimes do you get this ecstasy. No, and then you got to look at the witnesses, and they're saying, "Yeah, man, yeah." And then you might be convinced, and then you can come on to this easy path. Otherwise, you've got a lot of troubles, man, ahead for you. Look at all these people, you know, complaining, man. One devotee, you know, just died at age 35, and so they think maybe it was suicide or something. And the one guy was, you know, and this guru over in Tennessee was talking about him, and he was really big long comment too, you know, was saying, he said, well, I hope it's not suicide, but you know, probably could be, you know, 35 usually, it's kind of young to go. Oh yeah, drugs too, maybe, yeah. So anyway, but you know, I always see the solution is always not really a very good one. See, the solution is the mercy. Yeah, he was saying, yeah, you know, if we had more farms, you know, put them on a farm, milk the cows, you know, then there'd be, you know, yeah, then they wouldn't be doing this. But actually, Alachua area, that was a kind of a farm community and stuff, you know. So it's not really the full answer. The real answer is the association of ecstatic devotees preaching spontaneous devotional service. Then you solve all of your problems in that way. You just got to get ecstatic. And it's like I was reading in Govinda Lilamrita today, the parrot, one of the parrots, expert parrot in preaching, said, "Oh, Krishna, the good fortune of the residents of Vrindavan. See, you're the good fortune. Krishna is the good fortune of the residents of Vrindavan. Why are they fortunate? Okay? Why are a lot of devotees not as fortunate as the residents of Vrindavan? Well, the residents of Vrindavan have attachment for Krishna. That's what makes them really fortunate. The more attachment you have for Krishna, the more fortunate you are. Krishna Vrindavan. See? So that's what we want. That's what we need. And that's what you get with a spontaneous devotee. It increases your attachment like 1,000 times more than you can get by trying to be in your dry chanting for a lifetime. How many devotees have we seen in Vaishnavism after 40 years? They're still dry, pompous often. I'm not here to criticize, but just they're not really got it, man, or they're materialistic still, not really attached to Krishna. If the more attached you are to Krishna and Vrindavan, that Krishna, the more you're going to be blissed out of your mind, and tears are going to come to your eyes. You're going to act a little crazy too, but it's a wonderful crazy, And then when you're in a normal state, you'll be more logical and more intelligent than anybody. That's where the power comes from, is ecstatic worship. I mean, look at Shiva. He's out there laughing and crying and beating on his tom-tom, dancing like a madman. But man, he's in charge of, he's like one of these bigwigs up there in the demigod realm. He doesn't even have to follow any rules either.
Now, when both the above-mentioned kinds of devotees become inquisitive about how to attain the mood of Krishna's eternal associates in Braj, then we see that they are again dependent on information from the revealed scriptures and logical arguments.
Yes.
Camera.
There you go. Yeah, you see? Now, we use the scriptures not to develop we become inquisitive let's see, what kind of rules can we follow? How many more things can we add to our rule book, and our activities, No, it's more like, how can I develop this ecstatic mood? And so the devotees, it's in the scriptures. You see the examples of Lord Chaitanya, which is great. You understand how to develop this kind of spontaneous love. A lot of instructions from Lord Chaitanya by his example and by his preaching, and also by the Goswamis and their books. It shows you how to do these things, how to meditate on the Lord, how to develop this. And it's these more subtle principles. But you see, unless you're a Raganuga devotee, you won't see that. You'll just see where the scriptures are talking about rules and regulations in Varnashram Dharma. So you look at that aspect and not these deeper things. So, and that's what you hear from the Guru. The Guru is more mature in that kind of devotion than you are, and then you learn that way, and then after a while you start to pick it up yourself. I'm learning from my own disciples, because a lot of them picking up so well. They're picking up better than me in some aspects. So yeah, it's great.
It's so relishable to see Guru Maharaj listening to the classes of Anita Gandhis.
Yeah.
When we were talking on the phone before meeting Guru Maharaj, I was getting tingles in my neck. It was really powerful.
You were what now?
I was getting tingles in my neck. Where? We had that short conversation. I got tingles all on my neck.
That's actually that's a principle. When the devotees were, the Lord was just even coming into town, they were just the expectancy, they would become ecstatic. Even before he got there, just by remembering. See, as a devotee, you got it. They're all like that.
The way we can only be shown through the rules. Okay. The way we can only be shown through the rules are set forth by the scripture, logical arguments.
That sentence again, slowly.
The way can only be shown through the rules set forth by the scriptures and their results. There is no other way. Just like when one is greedy for cow's milk, one must ask someone who knows about how to get that milk, and one is dependent on that person's instructions. Do you want me to read it again?
No, that's good.
Okay. That person will say, you should buy a cow, and will also instruct one how to bring the cow, how to feed it grass, and how to milk it. One does not attain the required knowledge just like that.
Okay, give me the camera. So the scriptures teach how to nourish this kind of bhakti, this spontaneous, not just by the rules, but some rules might be favorable for that. Yeah, it depends. So like, first of all, hearing chanting and remembering about Krishna is part of the rules. It's the rules of regulative devotional service. The rule is you hear and you chant and remember about Krishna. See, and so that is not to be given up. And so, you got to see the logic in that, teach that. Because sometimes I've noticed, even in this teaching, some of my students come to the point and they think, well, now I don't have to chant anymore. Now I don't have to, I can just do whatever I want. You can just do whatever I want. So see, that is like you're not basing, that's not logical. See, logically you have to hear, chant, and remember, just like a Vaidhi Bhakti. But you don't have to follow strictly all these, you can't follow everything. The main thing is the essentials, the rules of hearing, chanting, remembering, and that could be enough for the devotee, because just by doing that you become purified. And isn't that the whole point of following the rules and regulations, even if you're of the scriptures, is to be purified, right? So if you can be purified, see how we're attacking this logically. See? So by hearing, chanting, remembering, it awakens bhakti in the heart, and that purifies us 1,000 times better than just following rules and regulations to become purified. See, just like you could follow like all kinds of stuff. You get up, you do the morning program, you go to Tulsi Puja, you go to this, you go to that, you go all day long, you fill your whole day in there. It's regulated, right? Well, for spontaneous devotee, this doesn't usually work, because where is there time for spontaneous awakening? It's just more, you're just going through the motions. It's kind of like dry in that sense. But you can't just give up following all the rules. You got to hear, you got to chant, you got to remember Krishna, and ecstasy usually will awaken. Right? So that's where the guidance comes in. Is it good?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
You guys look stoned. Take a picture.
I'm very stoned.
Okay. One does not attain the required knowledge just like that. without being instructed. It is said in the 8th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, as one can derive fire from wood.
Yeah, and, okay. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, and so you see, you got to be instructed, and that's where it's like, you know, the Raganuga devotee, he acts like both a father and mother. See, and helps nourish the devotees who are coming up through the stages. You know, they come and they get this sacred greed. You know, yeah, I'd like to worship like this, and then they get some bhakti, and then they read the scriptures, and more relishing, and it says this nourishes the bhakti. You know, see, and then when you get really ecstatic, like you can see, like Lalita Ganga, man, she's like becoming a powerhouse. You know. To convert the world, and not only her, Johann. This guy, Johann, is like unbelievable. I mean, he is so freaking ecstatic too. You know, my God, the guy. You know, I don't give him enough credit. I don't know why, but it's just. But he is really like ecstatic, man. Like he has dreams of Krishna every day, practically. It's unbelievable. He's like very, very dear to Radha and Krishna. And we're very fortunate to have the association of strong devotees like that, all of us. And we're all coming up to the ranks, you know, just by their association we'll be delivered. All of us, myself included. I have great faith in that, man. My disciples will deliver me, man. All I have to do is ride on their coattails.
Okay. As one can derive fire from wood, milk from the milk bag of the cow, food grains and water from the land, and prosperity in one's livelihood from industrial enterprises, so by the practice of Bhakti Yoga, this material world, one can achieve your favor or intelligently approach you. Those who are pious all affirm this. The Srimad Bhagavatam 8.6.12. Lord Krishna himself describes in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.14.26 how the devotees on the path of greed advances and becomes more purified by the day, from the initial stage of surrender to the feet of a guru, up to the point in which he directly attains the Lord. The more one's mind gets purified by hearing and chanting of my beautiful pastimes, the more able is one to discern the suitability of the self.
Okay, before we go on, so you see, it starts really at the point of surrender to Guru. When you really, the whole thing is you hear enough, you come to the point where, like, okay, all right, let's get, you know, this I can. Oh, you can't hear? Okay. All right. Do I have it on full? Oh, okay. Now we're really there. Okay. All right. Good. Okay. Yeah, to the point of surrender to the Guru is that's when you can really follow this path. And surrender is not just, it's not a material thing. You're surrendering to the word, the conceptions that come through the devotee. That's really it. It's not it's not the body that you're surrendering to. That's it's the conceptions. It's like that's what the devotee themselves live on. I guess it's like people say, you wouldn't surrender to like me as a spiritual master. I mean, what are you surrendering to? You just surrender. All I'm doing is talking all the time, and chanting. You're surrendering to that. You're surrendering to what is my passion. This gives me life. Life is the scriptures. Life is the conclusive understanding of the scriptures. So when you surrender that, that's why it says, those who claim to be my devotees directly are not really my devotees. But those who are the devotees of my devotees are my real devotees. See, because you're surrendering when you. Otherwise, if you come to me, see, here's the logic. You got to get convinced. If I give you a conception, if I'm teaching, and I'm not really relishing what Lord Chaitanya is relishing, and Advaita Acharya is relishing, and their real devotees are relishing, like they really like conclusiveness. See, if I'm not like that, and I put myself as a guru because I have other motives, ulterior motives, and then you surrender there, then you're surrendering to their conceptions. That are tainted by material motive. The devotee, the spontaneous devotee, just loves Krishna as he is. Loves the devotees as they are. See, that's the difference. And so, when a bona fide guru is somebody that is given the order of the Lord that, okay, now you teach these conceptions that thrill you, that make you ecstatic, because that'll make them, whoever will listen to you and believe in you, believe in what you say and what is you're really passionate about, what makes you ecstatic, they will become the same like you. See? And that's how you get into the kingdom, the easy way. You want a lot of troubles? Go some other way. Go to a guru who is not in the kingdom, that is not an ecstatic devotee, and you get what they got. Their conceptions are not really that bona fide. I mean, that's what Prabhupada saw. He saw amongst his godbrothers. They had these other, they desire for stuff. They wanted to be teacher and guru and all that. Vote in. Therefore, your conceptions become tainted. You don't have the real. It's like, those who have the real conception of guru, you just know in your bones, man, you don't appoint a savior. But you know what? Prabhupada's godbrothers didn't believe that. Can you believe that? They in other words, they didn't understand their guru very well. Maybe some sort of understand it, maybe, but why, he said, look, they're jealous of me and all that. That means they're jealous of their own guru. Their own guru said, I'm just telling you straight, man. Honestly, why would I read about Bhakti Siddhanta, and it said that I should stay here 10 more years to help instruct the disciples, but they want me to go. They're forcing me out of this planet. See? And then after 50 years, Prabhupada said, look, they're still envious of me. They're jealous because, see, they didn't see that Prabhupada had the right conception, and that's how you get purified, is by accepting. Just simply accepting the conception and the mercy of those conceptions of a real guru, can save you. The only difference with Prabhupada too, see, this is a stage thing, because this is really deep stuff, is people were not ready for what we're giving now. So now is the time, because not only are you getting the ecstatic devotee here, and we're teaching those deeper conceptions that he just kept in his books, and that are in the deeper books like the Goswamis and stuff like that. We're just outright teaching them. Just not holding back the ecstasy, not holding back the very deep truths, stuff like, you're basically, if you don't have devotion to the Sat Chit Ananda manifestation of the Lord, even as that manifestation as a devotee in this world, you're still an atheist. See, you're against God. I mean, that's the truth. See? But Prabhupada never said that. I mean, he says it in books. So he's saying in the books, but he didn't speak it. People not ready to, God, I'm doing devotional service and I'm still a demon? Yeah, you might be. Jarasandha was known as a demon, and he followed the rules and regulations perfectly. He gave charity to the Brahmins. He never lied. How many are that good in this world? See? But he was known as a demon still, because he was against ecstatic Krishna who came from Vrindavan. See, he didn't like his spontaneous behavior.
Take the M1 Content Road.
So these are the deeper conceptions, and they're hard to accept because the false ego wants to be known as a great soul. But real devotees consider themselves. I consider myself a fool. I'm not nothing special. Krishna's special. He's the spotlessly pure one. Affection for him is really the whole thing. I don't care about how pure I am or how great I am. Not about that. It's how pure Krishna is. Relishing that. How great Krishna is. How sweet he is. How much affection. That's what it's about for a real devotee of this spontaneous level. It's not a concern like, oh, I've got to be qualified. I got to be a great sannyasi to be guru and all that. No, it's how much affection do you have for Krishna? How many tears do you cry for the Lord? How much ecstatic laughter do you have? How much do you choke up? That's what the Lord's looking at. Hey, it took me a long time to figure this out. Believe me, it's not surprising. Even after ecstasy, I was wondering why Prabhupada you come to me? I ain't anything special. And after it took me years to figure out. Oh, it's all those tears I was crying for. It's all that ecstatic appreciation. That's what I look for in disciples. Look how much affection do they have? I don't care what faults they have. How much affection do you have in developing for the Lord? That's really what it's about.
There's no other way, there's no other way. All you gotta do is watch them play.
Right on.
Okay. One is to discern the suitable reality of the self. Just as the eye is better able to perceive subtle things when it is treated with medical ointment. When this greed has appeared in the heart, one becomes okay. When this greed has appeared in the heart, one becomes enlightened in different ways. Uddhava says in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11:29-6, Krishna reveals himself through the Acharya, spiritual master, although the agency of the or through the agency of the super soul.
So Krishna reveals himself through the spiritual master, and how do people? They don't even. A lot of people don't ask, how does that show up? How does he reveal himself through the spirit? Well, it's very practical, very logical. When you hear it from the right source, Krishna appears as that ecstatic devotion. That's his ananda form, the pure ecstasy. He appears as the conclusive truth that comes through the Guru. Right? So he appears through the Guru like that. And that's what purifies us. It purifies the disciples of the ignorance you take on from hearing from your own mind or from the minds of those who are not enlightened. From your parents, could be your conditioning. Parents can take us only so far. Our teachers can take us so far. Our gurus, even in religion, can take us only so far. Anyway, as far as they go. So the finishing touch, even Prabhupada could take us so far with that preaching, and then the next phase of teaching comes. This is the finishing word. We're here to finish it. Where devotion awakens and a person's personal relationship with Krishna awakens. Okay, now you have an unlimited source of happiness forever. Case closed.
Uddhava says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna reveals himself through the Acharya, spiritual master, or through the agency of the super soul.
See, Krishna reveals himself through the Acharya.
Hello, Krishna.
That revelation. See, people don't know when Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta, they didn't show Bhakti, they didn't show. See, so they weren't really fully revealing themselves. They wouldn't fully, you see. So they're holding back. See, even in the spiritual world, the Lord holds back in Vaikuntha. He's not fully revealing himself. Okay, so it's hard to take the Lord full on. Full on Vrindavan, come on, man. That's kind of why we get a lot of flack here. So with Prabhupada, so the Lord revealed himself up to the level, more or less, Varnashram, through Prabhupada and Bhakti Siddhanta. That's what the Lord said, let's build this foundation here. See, so the Lord reveals that. That's the Lord's will. Just like through Moses, he revealed the 10 Commandments. That's himself. It's the Lord. See, all paths lie upon Krishna as pearls on a string. So Varnashram Dharma, all that's the revelation of the Lord. Brings people deeper, gets them a little bit more purified. Okay? So the deeper revelation now, the finishing work is to become like the Lord. To become ecstatic like the Lord and have a personal relationship with Him. He's ecstasy, He's ecstatic, and we become ecstatic by relating to Him, by accepting Him, so that ecstasy reveals Himself if more fully with this level this is the deliverance level. This is where you're finally delivered. Okay, the Lord reveals the ecstasy through the bona fide spiritual master, the Raganuga devotee, spontaneous devotee, teaches the Raganuga aspect, which is the ecstatic portion of the Lord, the conclusive understanding of the Lord. See, now when you accept Him like that, you get purified by this kind of association. See, then you get the same kind of feelings the Lord has, and you these intimate exchanges with the Lord. The Lord is He's the king of rasics. So you become rasic also. Now you can have a real relationship. Otherwise you're having these real temporary relationships here in this world. How'd you like to have a real eternal relationship? Well, that's what we're about here teaching.
Thus, some devotees attain knowledge about the moods of Krishna and his Braj associates through the mouth of his guru, some from the mouth of a learnt Raganuga devotee, and some whose hearts have been pure in the practice of devotional service will have this knowledge directly revealed to them from within their hearts.
Say that all again. Back up one sentence too, so I get context.
Sorry, Guru Maharaj?
Back up one sentence before where you started here.
Okay. Krishna reveals himself through the Acharya, spiritual master, or through the agency of the super soul. Thus, some devotees attain knowledge about the moods of Krishna and his Braj associates from the mouth of a guru, some from the mouth of a learnt Raganuga devotee, and some whose hearts have been purified by the practice of devotional service will have this knowledge directly revealed to them from within their hearts.
Read all that again.
Again?
Yeah.
Okay. Krishna reveals himself through the Acharya, spiritual master, or through the agency of the super soul. Thus, Some devotees attain knowledge about the moods of Krishna and his Braj associates from the mouth of a guru, some from the mouth of a learnt Raganuga devotee, and some whose hearts have been purified by the practice of devotional service will have this knowledge directly revealed to them in great transcendental bliss, just as one sees a lusty man enjoying great pleasure when his desires are fulfilled.
All right, give me that. All right, give me that also. No.
Sorry, my hand.
Yeah. All right, this is very significant here. Okay, what number are we reading?
Can you bring it closer? 9. Just go down from 9.
Okay. All right. Oh, great. All right. So, okay. So when this greed has appeared in the heart, one becomes enlightened in different ways. What happened?
I was going to hit you in the head.
Where's the microphone? Give it to him. Yeah, he can hold it. Closer.
His arms go ahead of you.
All right. So, when this greed has appeared in the heart, one becomes enlightened in different ways. Uddhava says, are you sure this is where it's 9 or 10?
9.
Really? Okay. Uddhava says in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna reveals himself through the Acharya, spiritual master, or through the agency of the Supersoul, and it's actually both. You know, whoever, maybe somebody translated this, but in line, a little closer. What's more in line is both. He reveals through the spiritual master and the Supersoul. That's more normal, okay? Now, if you're like Lord Brahma, he could just reveal himself through as a Supersoul if you're advanced from a previous life. And that can be there too. Some, the Lord reveals that way. But usually to get it really right, it reveals himself through the Guru, the Acharya, as well as the Supersoul. Matter of fact, that's in chapter 1 of Adi Lila. Talks about this. The Lord teaches through the Supersoul in the heart and the Acharya from the outside. Okay, now next point. Thus, some devotees attain knowledge about the moods of Krishna and his Vraj associates from the mouth of a guru, some from the mouth of an anurag devotee. A Raganuga. Is this a Raganuga? Raganuga, okay. Raganuga devotee. Okay, so the Lord manifests as the devotee and as the spiritual master. So, again, it could be, you don't have to necessarily, you get it through the devotee, especially the spiritual master, but you can also get it through if you can find a living Raganuga devotee, which is appearing in our sanghas now. We're getting that help. You notice we can learn from devotees in our sangha now because they're becoming spontaneous devotees. Okay, so there's that. And also we learn from the devotees in the scriptures too. They're also, okay? When you've got spontaneous devotion, the Lord reveals so many things in the scriptures. And it's just like learning from that devotee. I mean, it's always better living. But, hey man, these are really valuable once you got the Bhakti. Okay, so there's that. So some devotees attain knowledge about the moods of Krishna from Guru, some through the mouths of a learned Raganuga devotee, and some whose hearts have been purified by the practice of devotional service will have this knowledge directly revealed to them from within their hearts. So this could have been from a previous life. A lot of aspects to this. That can happen from a previous life. You've been purified and then you pick very easily. Because of that, you can right from chanting. You just pick up where you do. Or you get a devotee here and you learn also. You're purified by devotional service under the guidance of a spiritual master. Okay? And that's Raganuga, teaching you all this Raganuga stuff, all this more intimate stuff. Or, and this is more rare, you could be doing your Vaidhi Bhakti also sincerely on that, and just by itself, in rare cases, it may arise. That's what the scriptures say, rare cases. But usually you need a combination of all these things. So they advance in great transcendental bliss, just as one. See, this is the thing. Now, by tasting this happiness of serving Krishna, you advance. Isn't that nice? When you get to that point, just by taste, you're advancing. Now it becomes easy. Now, why wouldn't everybody want this? Why you want to advance slowly? It's slowly and by hard work. Very slow, so slow it's almost, so anyway, this is really the best way. I don't think there's any better way, really. Get the taste and then advance by tasting. Just as one sees a lusty man enjoying great pleasure when his desires are fulfilled. And that's how it is. And that's why a lot of people don't show this, if they even have it. They're afraid people get envious or something, jealous and all that, because, wow, really great. But that's part of learning, if you want to learn to develop this, you have to get through that. And see that's how you're going to get it, is by developing the greed, simply by seeing a devotee enjoying this spiritual banquet. Really, that's what, it's not a point of envy, actually. Okay, that might be there, but after you get purified, you realize, oh, this greed this is a great boon for me. Now I'm really desiring this. Boy, thank you very much for enjoying that meal right in front of me. See, it's not like a material thing. In material, it's like, oh, what about me? I can't eat. You're eating. See, but this is different. This, you advance and you develop more greed and desire by seeing the devotee relishing ecstatic ecstasy. That's the way it works.
How else would you know where to go?
Yeah. Yeah, and it literally awakens that greed in you that you didn't have before, and you can't get any other way but by seeing it in a devotee. So there might be envy there because we got this conditioning at first, but as that gets purified, you realize, that was really stupid, man. Here I'm envying. That's my well-wisher here. That's my ticket out of here.
Biting the hand that feeds you.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I think it's enough just to say it's an amazing adventure.
Finished?
Yeah.